Hi, and welcome to The Right Hook. I'm Susan T., and together we'll be exploring easy but effective techniques you can use to make your writing stand out. There'll also be an opportunity at the end of the video to try out your skills on what we covered. So let's get started. I learned a lot in journalism school, but one of the most impactful lessons was also one of the simplest. Every paragraph should be a lean, coherent unit that can stand by itself. Consider the word paragraph. It means a mark to indicate a break, but a break where and from what and why? I like to think of paragraphs as counties that you pass through as you go along a state road. Signposts mark the boundaries, letting you know when you're entering another county. And you may notice that each county has its own features, like a distinct geography or population density or a group of resources. It will also have its own seat of governance. Yet, despite each county's unique identity, you can move seamlessly from one county to the next, and each will be part of a larger unit, which is the state. Now let's take the analogy to the structure of a paragraph. First, a well-structured paragraph should begin with a sentence that indicates you're going to encounter new content and tells the reader in a strong voice what the paragraph is going to be about. Second, each sentence in the paragraph should relate to and prop up the paragraph's topic. And third, the paragraph itself needs to fit within the overall theme of the piece that you're developing. How do you know if it does? Well, try this trick. When you've finished crafting your piece, look back over the topic sentences of your paragraphs and see if, taken together, they progress in a way that forms a virtual outline of whatever you're composing. If you find yourself going around in circles as you write, it's probably because your paragraph structure is all over the place. Now let's take a closer look at that structure. First, ask yourself exactly what you want a paragraph to cover. Pause the video and take a moment to read this paragraph. Would you say it has a strong topic sentence? I would hedge on that answer. The lead sentence loosely tells you what the paragraph is about, but it's not a strong indicator of what you'll find when you dive into it. So keep in mind that you want to pull your reader into the paragraph with a powerful lead that will grab their attention while setting up the rest of the paragraph unit. With this new introduction, we've taken the important step of alerting the audience to what will come next in the paragraph. Second, each paragraph should exist as a unified whole. That means every sentence should be part of the scaffolding that supports the main idea of the paragraph. Read this fictionalized appeal from a nonprofit organization. Now, on the surface of it, it may seem that each of these 4 sentences belongs in the paragraph, but one sentence is a guess that doesn't fit in. Can you spot it? Here's the sentence that has to go. Although it gives color to the background of the organization's founders, it causes the paragraph to veer away from its purpose, which is to emphasize the organization's pedigree. It introduces a second idea that fights for our attention, and we need to delete it. You'll notice that dropping the sentence that didn't belong did no harm to the paragraph. In fact, it made it more persuasive by keeping us focused on one idea, the continuity of an organization that has stayed close to its mission for a century. Now, once you've established a compelling lead and crafted content to support it, you're on a roll. This may tempt you to cram as many supporting messages as possible into the paragraph to drive home your point, but resist the temptation. This paragraph has started to drift into a new county, leaving behind the topic of the organization's storied past and drilling into the nitty-gritty of the fundraising appeal. When that starts to happen, take out your mental map and ask yourself if some of your paragraph's content isn't taking the reader into a new area. If it is, break up the paragraph into smaller pieces that have ideas of their own. In this example, the two main ideas presented in the long paragraph on the previous slide have been broken up into two paragraphs, each of which has something unique to say. Now notice the way the ending of the first paragraph provides a smooth passage to the next paragraph, which brings us to the third pillar of a well-structured paragraph. Transitions. Generally speaking, one paragraph should move without a hiccup to the next paragraph. If you finish composing a paragraph and find that you don't know where to go from there, it's a good bet you haven't organized your thoughts, and you haven't planned how one paragraph relates to the next. Here's an example of a paragraph that's well written from start to end. It begins with a strong topic sentence, and each sentence that follows it points back to the lead. Notice how the last sentence begs the question, what do we mean by an explanation that could cause further pain? The second paragraph in this example is a natural segue from what came before it. It answers the open question at the end of the first paragraph with a satisfying explanation. Note, however, that not every paragraph needs to end with an obvious bridge to the next. For example, you may be presenting a series of arguments, or several insights, or maybe steps. Each item in the series can be developed as its own paragraph that can stand on its own, and a transition won't be needed. In those cases, the connection might be established with words like first of all or finally. The solution will depend on the overall structure of what you're writing. So let's review what we covered in this session about the structure of a paragraph. First, develop a lead sentence that precisely signals the topic or the main idea of the paragraph. Second, follow the leader with sentences that flesh out this idea. And if the paragraph appears to be too long, ask yourself if the content strayed into what could be a new topic that deserves its own paragraph. And third, consider ending the paragraph with a sentence that will carry your reader seamlessly into your next paragraph. So let's give it a try. This paragraph about the state of the U.S. lumber industry has a lot going on in it. When we unpack it, the paragraph covers prices, interest rates, investment in lumber mills, and industry costs. But what's the theme of the paragraph? I don't see it here. We've got to tie it all together with a tight, unifying lead. Here's one suggestion. This new sentence marks the entry to a block of text that will be able to stand on its own. The first sentence now efficiently introduces the paragraph with a concise storyline. Notice that we kept the sentences we had before, but now each one points back to the paragraph signpost. The paragraph now has an internal unity headed by a strong lead. Take a moment to read this fundraising appeal for a mission-worthy organization. Every sentence bolsters the main idea of the paragraph, but they're out of order. Pause the video and move around the sentences so that the paragraph kicks off with the topic sentence. The main idea of the paragraph can actually be found in the second sentence. Now that the lead sentence has been pulled to the top, the paragraph has an orderly progression where the underlying sentences labeled 1, 3, and 4, bear the weight of the paragraph's theme. Train yourself to take a disciplined approach to how you structure your paragraphs. Turn them from flabby to fit and keep them lean. If you want to share comments, questions, or even writing samples, contact me at therighthook123@gmail. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you at my next video.